আজকে আমি আকনা সারদা রামকৃষ্ণ পাঠচক্র পক্ষ থেকে সবাইকে আমার আন্তরিক শ্রদ্ধা নমস্কার প্রণাম জানিয়ে মহারাজের পায়ে শতকোটি প্রণাম জানিয়ে আজকের বহুদিন পর আজকে আবার আমরা এই কঠিন সময়ের মধ্যেও সবাই একত্রিত হয়েছি। মহারাজ আপনি আমার সঙ্গে কদিন আগেই কথা হচ্ছিল যখন আমি সিকিমে গেছিলাম এবং হিমালয় দর্শন হয়েছিল, কেন জানি না তখনই ওখানে বসে মনে হলো সেই যে স্বামীজির একটি গানের মধ্যে রয়েছে আমাদের প্রার্থনা ও সঙ্গীতে, সেই মহাযোগী মহাধ্যানে মগ্ন যোগী বর, তো সেইটা দেখেই যেন সেই তখনই সিকিম থেকে বসে বসেই লিখেছিলাম মহারাজকে যে মহারাজ যদি এই বিষয়ের ওপরে কিছু বলা যায়। তো মহারাজ এত সুন্দর করে পোস্টারটা তৈরি করে দিয়েছেন, এতে আমার একটুও কৃতিত্ব নেই, পুরোটাই মহারাজের। তো সেই জন্য খুব সুন্দরভাবে করেছেন। তো মহারাজকে আর একটু আমি সময় না নিয়ে মহারাজের কাছে অনুরোধ করব যে মহারাজ আপনি আমাদেরকে স্বামীজি এবং হিমালয়ের সম্পর্কে, তার যোগাযোগ সম্পর্কে আপনি জানান। নমস্কার।
अखंड मंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। ओम नमो भगवते श्री रामकृष्णाय। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय Swami Tapaharine. Salutations to our great Swami Vivekananda, Swamiji, as we dearly call him. Today, I'm very happy to meet all the devotees of Akna Patachakra once more, and also many others who have come, taking their time and efforts. So today, I'm going to speak on Swamiji and snow peaks, or to put it another way, Swamiji's connection with the Himalayas. You know, the very word Himalaya creates an idea in our mind. A type of idea that is very vast and it is very great. So, in India, in our vernaculars, we do say, if you make any great mistake, then we say, oh, that fellow has done Himalayan blunder. We say that. The Himalaya stands for such a great big thing. And every child also knows in India, from any part of the country, that Himalaya is a mountain that needs to be worshipped. Apart from its physiological position, or geological position where it is, and how it was a great fort for getting Indian culture to be saved, etc., etc. So many benefits are there. But then, and then ecological benefits. Many people say because of Himalayas, the northern portions, rivers, are eternally flowing. So the ice melting all the time. So there are many great benefits are there. But Himalaya is also worshipped as the place of Lord Shiva, where he stays. So like, Vaikunta, like Brahmaloka, like there is a Shivaloka also is there. And that Kailasha is in Himalayas. So naturally, everybody is admiring Himalayas. And you can see how Swamiji, as Narendranath, as a young boy, he was also very attracted to Himalayas. You can easily understand from the birth of Swamiji that his mother used to pray to Lord Shiva for getting that son. So naturally, Shiva's unsure that a part of Shiva has come upon on this earth as Swami Vivekananda, because there are qualities of Shiva that have been in Swami Vivekananda we see. So naturally we think that Swamiji is none other than Lord Shiva's grace. So if Shiva has come upon this earth as Swami Vivekananda, then his connection to Himalayas must be there. Is it not? There is nothing greatly to wonder about that. So this is taken for granted. his connection to Himalayas. But then, in 2019, I was invited by the Zurich Vedanta Society, that by Patachakra, by members there, and one Shantu Babu is there. He only invited me. And then when he went there, he took great attention. And then he took me to Maharaj, I'm going to take you tomorrow to a place. I said, what is that place? You will see, it's a beautiful Alps mountains range. And you would like that place. I said, okay. So I had some devotees also, a few devotees with me. So we all started going. We went by train. And when we arrived at the place, then he said, Maharaj, first I will take you to a place, a hotel. I said, hotel? Oh, are we going to stay here? No. We are not going to stay. Just come with me. And then when he took the hotel and showed me a placard there, a board is kept there. Here Swami Vivekananda stayed, it says. Then I was, to my surprise, there was no limit. And I appreciated him. How wonderful place you brought. Is this the place that Swamiji stayed? He said, yes. When Swamiji traveled Europe, he went to France, he went to Germany, he went to Holland. So in all these places, he went to Switzerland also. And he went to Alps. And then he went to a place called Swami. Saasvee. Swami. That is the place where Swamiji went and stayed in that hotel. That hotel is there, Metropolis is there. That hotel is still there. And the room is only, they could not clearly identify because the hotel top floor has been remodified. But they said the corner room was what Swamiji used to stay. That's what they said. And then when we came out and we were walking on the snow and we saw Swamiji's bust-size statue there. I was really thrilled to see Swamiji's statue in Switzerland. You see, and then we all went there. I made pranam and then I told the devotees to sing Murta Maheshwara and we all sang there. And then the passers-by, lots and lots of tourists are coming to that place, you see. So the pastors, they were stunned. Who are these people coming and singing here in the open? So, but they also stood there and watched. So it was very nice. So we had to tell them, see, this is Swami Vivekananda from India. So it was a great, glorious moment in Sasvi. Why I am telling you, in this hotel, Swamiji sat there and he wrote a letter to Christine, Sister Christine. That letter I am telling you a few lines. He says, the letter is written on 5th August, 1896. He says that, blessed and beloved, surrounded on all sides by eternal snow peaks, sitting on the grass in a beautiful wood, my thoughts go to those I love. So I write. I am in Switzerland, constantly on the move, getting a much needed rest. He's actually having a rest, he says, by constantly moving around. The movement itself is a rest for Swamiji, That's why Swamiji said, somebody asked, what is rest? Rest is nothing but change of work, he said. That is called rest. The best example is the women folk in our homes, how women are so busy. They are listening to these spiritual discourses and then they go and cook and then they do cleaning. They do everything. Change of work is called rest. So Swamiji is constantly on the move, getting a much needed rest, he says. It is a miniature Himalayas. Sitting in that place, Swamiji writes, it is a miniature Himalayas and has the same effect of raising the mind up to the self and driving away all earthly feelings and ties. This is the beautiful way Swamiji puts in one phrasal words that what Himalayas are doing to humanity. What is that Himalaya, or what does the Himalaya do to humanity? It takes your mind up to the self, that is Atman. And then it It drives away all earthly feelings and ties. That means all our attachment is driven off by the Himalayas. So Himalaya stands for renunciation. Himalaya stands for Vairagya. That's why Lord Shiva is being seated there. So this such great inspiration that Himalayas gives from Switzerland is thinking of Himalayas, you see. That means you can understand how much he is connected to that place. And then I'm not straight away going to take you to Himalayas now. Before that, I want to take you to the southern tip of India, which is Kerala. When Swamiji was going through Kerala as a wandering monk, just before going to America, he visited Kerala also, and he visited one Professor Sundararaman. He went on the door and knocked the door of Sundararaman's house in Trivandrum. Now it is called Thiruvananthapuram. So Sundararaman was a great professor. He was given by the Tamil Nadu government, to Kerala king for doing certain works, ministerial work. So he had gone there. Swamiji, when knocked the door opened. A 14-year-old boy was standing there. That boy looked at Swamiji. Swamiji was standing there only, that's all. And in his wonderful tone, he asked. Swamiji's voice, we have not heard it. Unfortunately, nobody could record his voice. Though the internet, something is coming up as Swamiji's voice, they are all bogus, not true. But Swamiji's voice, and this boy explains how Swamiji's voice was there. He says that it was like a temple bell is being rung. And Swamiji asked him, may I see Professor Sundararaman? The boy could not contain his surprise, He ran up to the study room of his dad and he said, Dad, one Maharaja has come. Dad said, what are you talking, my boy? And the boy has just finished school. He is a 14-year-old boy. He is going to the higher education. And now he is telling to his dad that a Maharaja has come. Dad says, what? Maharajas, in those days, Rajas and Maharajas were there. You must remember that. Not like today. So he said, no Maharaja can come to our home. If it is necessary for him to meet us, he would just give us his information. We will go to his court and meet him. No Maharaja can come to us. He said, no, you must come down and see immediately. So he left all his things there as it is, and the father came down and he saw Swamiji was standing. He didn't know who Swamiji was. And Swamiji introduced him and gave an introduction letter. Seeing the letter, took him immediately to upstairs. And after 1.5 hours discussion, both of them came down and he asked this boy, my dear son, do you know, you said it is Maharaja. He is Maharaja, but not of the earthly possession of the bhumi, that is of the earth. He is the Maharaja of the mind. And he is going to stay with us for 9 nights. So Ramaswamy Shastri writes that it was my 9-night stay with Swamiji in the same home. From morning to night, I could see Swamiji. Though I was a 14-year-old boy, I had so much company of Swamiji during that time. And he says, a beautiful way, he says, one day, this Ramaswamy boy, young boy, was studying a book. It was a Sanskrit book written by Kalidasa. So, in Kalidasa, there are lots of Kalidasa's works. Kalidasa, for those who do not know about Kalidasa, I'm telling, Kalidasa is a great Sanskrit poet in India. This poet has written many types of literature, and those literature even till today are remembered and studied by the Sanskrit lovers. And he writes wonderful poems. So he was like Kalidasa's, if for any points of comparison, say in a poem, what you want to say, you say, but you must give an example. So, for example, Kalidasa was very famous. just like as our Thakur, as Sri Ramakrishna. In Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, when you read whatever idea, whatever thought Sri Ramakrishna brings it, immediately he will bring an example. Just like that, this Kalidasa's Upama, that is example, is very famous. So for everything he will give an example. So this Kalidasa, so one of his great work was Kumara Sambhavam. Kumara Sambhavam means the birth of Lord Muruga. So he wrote how Kumara was. Kumara means that Lord Shiva's and Parvati's son. So his parents are Parvati and Shiva. How Lord Kumara, that is Murugan, Kartik, as we say in Bengali, Kartik was born. So the birth of Kartik, he writes. So in that, Swamiji is asking, I am just quoting what Ramaswamy says. He says, Swamiji asked, can you repeat the great poet's description of the Himalayas? Because he was reading the portion where Kalidasa describes the glory of Himalayas, so he asked him, can you please repeat? Then this boy, that is the Ramaswamy Shastri, he recited the verses, so well known that opened the Mahavakya, that is great Mahakavya, the great poem. What that poem says, just a minute, because the Sanskrit poem is so beautiful, I think I should tell it in Sanskrit, then it will be very beautiful. He says, Astyuttarasyam dishi devatatma. Asti uttarasyam dishi devatatma. Himalayo nama nagati rajaha. One line. Second line. Purva paro toya nidhavagahyam stita prithivya iva manadandaha. He says that this, in the northern direction, Uttarasyam Asti, there exists. What exists in Uttara Disha? That is, Dishi means Disha, direction, the northern direction. Devatatma. He is not telling Himalaya mountain exists in the northern side. Instead of that, he is telling there is a Devatatma existing on the northern side. Northern direction. And then say Himalayo Nama. What is the name of the Devatama? Devatatma's name is Himalaya. Not Himalaya is called Devatatma. You see how beautifully Kalidasa says. This Devatatma, that is the effulgent being, is there. That effulgent being's name is Himalaya. And he says, Purva Parau, Toya Nidhavagakya. So it says, stands as the overlord of the snowy mountains, Himalaya, is like Prithivya Iva Manadandaha. It says, it is like what you can say, like a measuring rod. Manadanda means measuring rod. You take a rod and measure how much feet the depth is there. So it's called Manadanda. So it is like a Manadanda of the ocean and the earth. So that is how he says. Then Vivekananda remarked, in the words of Shastriji, do you know that I am coming after a long stay amid the sublimity of the Himalayan scenes and sights? This boy got stunned. I am reading about Himalayas, and Swamiji says, I was there in Himalayas. And I'm coming from there. And then he says, okay, tell me the meaning. So the boy, whatever he understood, as per the college reading, whatever is understood, he told. Then Swamiji says, that is good, but not enough. Swamiji was not satisfied. Then he says, oh Swamiji, you say that it's not enough. This couplet, these two lines of Kalidasa, this is, to me, it appears very marvelous musical, but then I have not explained, I have not known the full meaning. Can you please tell me? Then Swamiji tells him the meaning of this verse. Why I am telling you this is a very interesting verse which our Anita Bose likes so much. And she has also put in her Facebook, I saw this verse that she has put in her name. So I thought, let me start this talk with this verse. So Swamiji gives importance here. The words in this verse are Devatatma. If you want to translate this Devatatma literally, you should say ensouled by divinity. That is what Swamiji says, ensouled by divinity. And Manadanda means measuring rod. The poet, that is Kalidasa, implies and suggests that Himalaya is not a mere wall accidentally constructed by nature. There are so many natural freaks in the nature. It's not like accidentally something has come up. For nature to build Himalayas, there must be a purpose. It is ensouled by divinity and is the protector of India and her civilization. For thousands of years, this Himalaya has been protecting us. Not only from the chill, icy blasts blowing from the Arctic region, but also from the deadly and destructive incursions of invaders. So many invaders already had come in spite of the Himalayas. But if the Himalayas were not there, our race would have been completely annihilated by now. So Himalaya was a great protection. And he says that this Manadanda means what here? So Swamiji explains, Kalidasa says that the Indian civilization is the best of all human civilization and forms the standard by which all the other human civilization, past, present, and future, must be tested. Such was the poet's lofty conception of patriotism, he says. How Kalidasa loved this country, the country where he was born, and the country which gave so much spiritual ideas as Upanishads, and where the Himalayan caves, where rishis went for meditation and lived their lives, extraordinary lives of monks there staying in Himalayas. So such things, what's what Himalayan mountain gives us. So with these words of introduction, let me say that Swamiji went to Himalayas 3 or 4 times. And somewhere the Himalayan range, if you go above the Tibetan range, that is from the Kailash onwards, if you start Mount Everest, from there if you say, the range comes down up to West Bengal. If you see the Indian map, the whole range of the eastern part from north to east is connected by a mountainous range. If you see the map, it will be so wonderful to see that. And the entire thing is called Himalayan range. That's why even in West Bengal, very nearer to West Bengal, Calcutta, Darjeeling is there. Darjeeling comes under Himalayan range only. So the whole thing up to West Bengal, it's all Himalayan range as they call it. This Himalayan range, wherever you go, you have touched Himalayas. As Thakur used to say, to touch Ganga, you did not start with Gangotri and then go to where the river meets the ocean. You can touch anywhere Ganga and you have touched. So anywhere if you had gone under Himalayan range, you have touched Himalayas. Such a beautiful way that we must understand. That's what it's the one Swamiji's telling this patriotism is not earth bound naturally. So he gives a concept that Himalaya is a Devatatma, and that stands for renunciation. And to that place, why not he go? He must go. He always loves to go there. And he says, I want to stay here and then leave my body there, he said once. For all those things, you see, if you can read this, particularly the portions of Swamiji's travels in Himalayas, will take, of course, one class, you cannot do it also. For 40-50 minutes, you cannot finish. So I thought of taking 1 or 2, 3 incidents from Swamiji's life, just to mention how he loved Himalayas. So the first thing that comes to us, to our mind, is that he's going to Himalaya on the pretext of showing the Western devotees. So he was talking to Western devotees about the glory of Himalayas. So when they came, so he took all of them. And then he was going to several places, went to Kashmir and stayed there, etc. And then he wanted to go to Amarnath. And that was the time, among the Western devotees, all of them, he kept there in Kashmir, in Srinagar, and told them, you come up to Pahalgam. That's enough for you. I am taking only one person with me to Amarnath. And that person was chosen by Swamiji, and that was Sister Nivedita from Ireland. His Amarnath experience was so wonderful. Only he chose Sister Nivedita from that group. And he said, come, my daughter. Though she was only 4 years younger to Swamiji, but Swamiji used to always have a commanding tone upon her. She would call her my daughter. He said, come with me. And then she arranged everything. She went with him. And her description of Swamiji's scenery, of what he saw there and how the whole thing went on, etc., is something wonderful to read. That's my master also, she speaks about Himalayan travels and notes on the wanderings with the Swami Vivekananda. There is another book by Sister Nivedita called Notes on the Wanderings with the Swami Vivekananda. So that book also she gives how wonderful it is. So let us see that incident. I thought I should tell you. Let me just take up that particular portion where she speaks about, yes, Nivedita, in the master as I saw him, in that book, she gives one incident about the Amarnath cave. I do not know, many of you, some of you might have gone to Amarnath also, because it's a beautiful pilgrimage. We all go that, and by Thakur's grace, I also could go in 1986. So it was a tremendous impact it makes on the mind of a person. When you go there, you don't think of any other matter. That those matters which seem to be very, very important to you, they lose all importance. So that type of place, Amarnath, where you go there and see the Shivalingam. So I saw the full Shivalingam there on the day. And then Nivedita writes about that. She says, as we ascended the mountains, we had before us the snow peaks. Swamiji liked snow peaks, That's why the title is Swamiji and the snow peaks. Swamiji saw the snow peaks covered with a white, fresh veil of snow, newly fallen. And the cave itself is a niche never reached by sunlight. Sun dares not enter into that cave. That cave was visible, and there the great ice lingam was shining. And then she says, the people who enter the cave, from distant place you are walking and walking and walking. Suddenly at a turn of a mountain path, you see a cave. The moment you see the cave, the whole group of people who are traveling, they say, Hara Hara Mahadev, Sambho Sambho Mahadev. They chant the name of Lord Shiva. And then we reach the gate. And then when you enter the gate of the cave, and inside you step in, and you see the great shining ice lingam, you forget yourself. Such a beautiful darshan, you can have that. So that is what Nivedita had. Vivekananda, she writes, observed all the rites of pilgrimage with the utmost and punctilious diligence. Can you imagine a person like Swami Vivekananda, who was not at all religious in the sense of the religious term that we all use? He was observing all types of necessary practices to go on a pilgrimage. What all he did? He kept fasts. Fasting was an important point during pilgrimage before going to meet the Lord. So whether it is the Devi temple or Shiva temple, people fast and then go. That's why in Belur Math, when I go, I don't visit Dakshineshwar temple, with eating. I said, no. Early morning, I should go, or you go fasting. 10 o'clock, even if so, you should not take anything. Not having breakfast, you must go there. So that fasting he did and told his beads. He had a Rudraksha beads. So he was telling the beads. And then he bathed in the ice cold waters of the 5 streams, one after another. You Panchatarani, the place is called Panchatarani, where the 5 streams flow. So one after another, he bathed in the 5 streams. And then she says, my master's exaltation, when he finally entered the cave on August 2nd, 1898. She says, Swamiji was in an exalted mood. That exalted mood Swamiji entered. And now, let us see what Nivedita saw when Swamiji entered the cave, where the ice lingam was there. And now she says, as he entered the cave, it seemed to him as if he saw Shiva made visible before him. Shiva appeared before him. Amidst the buzzing, swarming noise of the pilgrim crowd, he was not alone. There were plenty of pilgrims were there along with him. They were all noise. They were all shouting, Shiva, Shiva, Hara Hara Mahadeva, Bam Bam Mahadeva. They are shouting. And overheard fluttering of the pigeons, because there is a cave almost all the time it is closed, you see, except the summer. So, except for a few days. So the pigeons have got wonderful nests there. So the fluttering of the pigeons were there. He knelt, Swamiji knelt and prostrated 2 or 3 times. Unnoticed. Because the crowd was there, nobody could pay any attention to Swamiji. He was prostrating 2 or 3 times, unnoticed. And then, afraid lest emotion might overcome him, he rose and silently withdrew. Swamiji later said that I would have swooned in that place. I controlled myself, he said. That means at that time, when he met Shivalingam and Shiva appeared before him, he was about to get swooned. But he had managed himself, well controlled himself. He said afterwards that in these brief moments, he had received from Shiva a gift of Amaratvam. When he saw Shiva, he got a gift. Can you imagine this? You go to a temple and see the deity and make pranam, and you are supposed to give gift to the deity. You carry so many things to be offered to the deity. But here, the deity came up in front of him and gifted him the Amaratva, not to die. Or, you put in other words, until he himself had willed it. Ichha Mrityu. It's called Ichha Mrityu boon. So Swamiji received the Ichha Mrityu boon. In this way, it says, Nivedita remembers what Sri Ramakrishna told about Naren to the other disciples. Because in India, she has heard about that. So what she has heard from others, that others were telling that Sri Ramakrishna said, when Naren knows his true self, he will leave his body. Exactly that is what? That was confirmed here. What Sri Ramakrishna said long back. It was confirmed now. And then she says, he reached the cave, his whole frame shaking with emotion. His body was covered with ashes. His face glowed like a flame with supreme devotion to Shiva. He entered the shrine nude except of a lion cloth. That means only kaupina he had. In that -degree cold, where everywhere snow is bound, there Swamiji did not put on any sweater, any socks, any muffler, any topi, nothing except kaupina. The whole body found naked. And with that, he made prostration, Sashtanga pranams. In that cave, it is something, it goes beyond our imagination at that time. And then a song of praise from 100 throats resounded in the cave because they were all singing the great Shiva's name. He almost swooned with emotion. A great mystical experience came to him, of which he never spoke. Beyond saying that Shiva himself appeared before him and that he had been granted the grace of Amarnath, the Lord of immortality. This is what he said. And rest of the things his experience, he could not even put it in proper words and explain. So Nivedita writes in the notes of some wanderings with the Swami Vivekananda. In that book, she writes about this, that he had touched the feet of Shiva. So great was his physical exhaustion that a doctor said afterwards that this heart ought to have stopped beating. So much exaltation he had. But then that damaged his heart completely, It made him, he had undergone a permanent enlargement of the heart. And that was one of the point of his death, After his death, the doctors certified that, yes, he had enlargement of heart. So that also they say. Now, that is the place, this Amarnath place is wonderful. Let us now move to another place. After seeing Amarnath, then he came back to Kashmir, that is Srinagar. And near Srinagar, there is a small village where a Devi temple is there. Kashmir itself was abound with many Hindu temples. Even though the temples are there, but there are no Hindu pujaris. Most of the temples I hear, they are all closed because there is no Pandit available there. And some of the temples have got dilapidated and gone in such a bad manner, they are all there. Like that, I am only hearing from others because I haven't traveled to Kashmir for a long time. After 86, I have not been there. So I do not know exact position now. Anyway, what we see and what we hear from the newspapers and extra people, etc., this type of things are there. Very sad we are finding. But then, even if you have the sadness, so that is not to have. That's what I'm telling you. Why I'm telling you this portion, that Swamiji went to Srinagar, and in Srinagar, there are three things happened. One by one, let me tell you. So, when he went there in the boathouse, all the devotees were kept in a boathouse. Separate boathouses were taken. Say two people used to stay in boathouse. Likewise, Nivedita and the wife of American consulate to India, she was there. So these two ladies stayed in one boat. In another boat, then others were all staying. So Sarabul was there. She was also staying in one boat. One boat where Swamiji was there. So every day, Swamiji in the early morning, they all used to get up very early because they wanted to see the sunrise on the river. But then, before that Swamiji has got up and he is talking to the boatman. He was so very nicely, he was talking to the boatman, and then he would say, come, let us go for a walk. And then he would take them for a walk. For long walks they used to have. They used to come back for the lunch, etc., etc. The daily, it was like 3 months he was staying in Kashmir. So during 3 months, some of the experiences are wonderful. One time, he saw the boatman's daughter, young daughter, not even 10-year-old. That daughter said, he asked the boatman, he was a Musalman. So he asked him, can you allow your daughter to be worshipped by me? He said, oh, you want to do puja? He said, yes. Okay, he allowed. And then he brought a lot of flowers and then placed before the mother, as considering her as the divine mother, Durga. So, Durga Puja, we do, the Kanya Puja we do. And that Kanya Puja is very, Kumari Puja as it is called, is very famous. Wherever in the Ramakrishna Mission tradition, the Durga Puja is done, we have a Kumari Puja also. So you find that there are many centers are there where Kumari Puja is done. So Swamiji, before even starting the practice of Kumari Puja in Belur Math, he did on his own at Kashmir. That is something wonderful. And he could see that. And the girl also went on to exalted mood, says, when he did the puja. What the girl knows, nothing. But then she was in a different mood. And it seems that Swamiji enjoyed that, doing puja, that doing Kumari puja at that place. And another place what he went was a mother's temple. Mother's temple is there where you find Swamiji was full of bhava. That is called Kheer Bhavani. Kheer Bhavani temple is there. The Nivedita says that every day he stayed for 7 days at Kheer Bhavani temple's precincts. There's a small village is there attached there, so he stayed there. In that village, staying there, he could go and make himself kheer for every day and offer her. So even in 86, when I went to Kheer Bhavani, I saw there was no murti of Kheer Bhavani. A well was there. In the well, water was there. And people would bring payas, kheer, and then they offer that in that well. So you can see that well water was not very clear. It's full of payas is there. Whoever brings kheer, they will pour there. And that is what the Devi, they told me. Kheer Bhavani is there in the well. So we used to go and see the well and then sit outside and meditate. So that is what I used to do. But now later, that temple has been very well constructed, and then the murti, etc., has been put up everywhere. So it's a very beautiful temple now. So that temple, Swamiji stayed for 1 week. What was the experience Swamiji had there? Swamiji had a tremendous experience of that everything is done at mother's will. This is, we all sing that, is it not? That a beautiful Bengali song we sing, that Loke bole ami kori. People say that I do, but tumar kormo tumi koroma. We say that, to your work you do. Whose work who is doing? It is Mother, Divine Mother's will that is happening everywhere. This idea as the what do you call them? The last idea in the Bhakti Yoga, where the complete surrender happens and your mind accepts whatever is done by God. That is the culmination in your Bhakti practice. And that Swamiji had on that place. At Kheer Bhavani, when he was sitting and one day he was trying to sleep, he couldn't sleep. Before him, because he was a great knowledge of history he had, he could visualize those olden days when Mohammedans came from afar and then they started looting the temples of India, and then how the temple was destroyed, and the temple situation when Swamiji visited was in a dilapidated condition, utterly neglected. There was no one to take care of. Likewise, so Swamiji felt very bad, and he was thinking, if I only was there, I would have protected this temple. This idea, just a streak of idea, it came into him. And you know what happened immediately? He heard the voice of the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother's voice said, "My son, do I protect you or you protect me? If I had wanted, I could have created and maintained here a temple made of gold. If it is found in destructed condition, that is also my will." That was a great realization of Swamiji. So far Swamiji has been planning for making a mutt and this organization that has to be done. This is how it should be done. And these are the activities that we should undertake. All those things he was talking and writing in the letters, etc. From that day, Swamiji completely resigned to Divine Mother's will. Let her will be done. I have no individual will. Completely he gave up himself. So that situation that happened, in Kheer Bhavani, if you go to Kashmir anytime, you must visit Kir Bhavani temple. That is very touched by Swamiji, where Swamiji stayed for 7 days. So that idea of complete transformation came upon him. It is in one of the talks with his disciple, that disciple, Swami Shishya Shambha. That is the book where the disciple writes. So Chakravarti writes, he says, one chapter he has given for Swamiji's talks, he is asking Swamiji, when you went to, what did you feel? When you went to Kir Bhavani, what was your experience? Like that he is asking. And he writes in the introduction of that passage, he says, Swamiji has come back to Calcutta after he is finishing his Kashmir trip. His mood is completely changed. Previously, he was joking, bubbling with energy, and talking to all of us. Nowadays, he is keeping himself aloof and quite calm. So when I went and prostrated before my Guru, that is Swamiji, and then Guru looked at me and he blessed my hand. He did not utter a word. Then I sat under his feet and then I started talking to him, putting questions. Then slowly, he opened his mouth and told a few lines that he noted down. If you read in that book, the conversations between a guru and disciple, in that book he says that how Swamiji says such wonderful things. He says, my dear, I lost all interest in running this world. The world is absolutely no existence for me. So Swamiji's personality itself completely changed after visiting Amarnath and Kir Bhavani. But how many other small incidents that have happened there? It is really wonderful to think of that, but I would not much go into other details. There are very many interesting incidents also were there that I am not going because time is already over, because I would like to throw this dash to audience.
Maharaj,
So, if there is anything to say, Anita will
মহারাজ এত সুন্দর শুনছি, একটা পুরো অন্য জগতে রয়েছি মহারাজ। মানে আপনি চাইলে এটা আমরা দ্বিতীয় সেশন করব মহারাজ। এই জিনিস কেউ বুঝিয়ে বলবে না এমন করে মহারাজ। শুধুমাত্র মানে মাত্র 2টো না 3টে জিনিস শুনে শরীর এবং মনের মধ্যে যে প্রভাব হচ্ছে মহারাজ, এটা আমরা কন্টিনিউ করব। আমি আপনার সঙ্গে পরে কথা বলবো, আপনি বলুন। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
ওকে। আজকে পার্ট 1 থাক, তার মানে
আজকে পার্ট 1 হোক, এটার সেকেন্ড পার্ট হবে মহারাজ, একদম।
তুমি মডারেট করবে?
হ্যাঁ মহারাজ, ক্ষীর ভবানীর এই যে ঘটনা, এই সময় যখন মানে তারপর থেকেই মাতৃ সাধনা যেটা বা পুরোপুরি প্রকৃতি এবং পুরুষ যেটাকে আমরা বলি, সেখানে তো মায়ের দিকটা তো প্রকৃতির মধ্যে দিয়েই প্রকাশ পায়। স্বামীজি মানে তারপর থেকেই এই চেঞ্জটা খুব বেশি পরিমাণে হলো। 98.
Correct. I would not say it was Matri Sadhana or something like that. See, what you attain at the end of the sadhana, that mother's will alone is prevalent, not my will. See, the individual will is completely removed. There is no I. That is the culmination of the bhakti sadhana, you see. So, he was not doing any sadhana. It has come upon him at that time. That one incident was enough for him to make him understand that. It is not that he was not knowing that. He knew that. He has seen his own guru, how Sri Ramakrishna used to tell that it is all mother's will only. Sri Ramakrishna was always telling him that if mother wants, why not she give you? When Naren said to Ramakrishna, please tell your mother is dead at that time. And that your mother has become my mother. Please tell your mother, I am suffering for want of food. So can you not tell your mother? That's what at that time he said. Later now, you see, at this age, in 1898, 4 years before his passing, mother has become his mother. So a great change of ideas, we can see that. Swamiji's life gives us, if you study part by part, then we can understand what Swamiji's evolution of his spiritual ideas for our sake, It is not that he needed. He was a great yogi, For him it's okay. It is for us, like devotees, we want to learn from Swamiji's life. Then we can learn thousands of things from his life.
অসাধারণ, মানে ভাষায় বলার মতন বোধহয় বলে বোঝানো যাবে না মহারাজ। এই লাস্ট 1 ঘন্টা যা শুনলাম, এবং আপনি অমরনাথ দর্শনের যে বর্ণনা দিলেন মহারাজ, পড়েছি হয়তো, কিন্তু সেই পড়া আর এই শোনা, এর মধ্যে অনেক তফাৎ মহারাজ। আমরা এইটাকে নিয়েই, কারণ এমন একটা সময় দিয়ে এখন যাচ্ছি, সেও তো মায়েরই ইচ্ছা সেই অনুযায়ী, কিন্তু তবু মহারাজ ওদের স্বামীজির জীবনের এইটা আপনি যে বললেন এক্ষুনি,
তুমি বলাতে আমার এটা মনে পড়ছে। সেকেন্ড পার্টে আমি টেক আপ দিস করোনা ভাইরাস and Swamiji's experience of the Mahamari. Yes. What he says about
নিশ্চয়ই এগুলো আমাদের প্রত্যেককে উজ্জীবিত তো করবেই মহারাজ। এই যে দেখুন, এই 1 ঘন্টা আমরা অন্য কিছু সত্যি ভাবতে পারিনি। অমরনাথে যেতে হয়তো পারিনি, বা অনেকে হয়তো গেছেন, কিন্তু যে অভিজ্ঞতা এই আজকে হলো মহারাজ, সবকিছু ভুলেই তো শুনলাম যে প্রভু যদি কৃপা করেন, কবার যদি সব ঠিক হয়, যদি দর্শন হয় সেটা আলাদা, কিন্তু এই যে শোনা, এটাও তো একটা দর্শনই। আপনি এত সুন্দর করে ব্যাখ্যা করলেন। আপনি আমার অনেক অনেক প্রণাম নেবেন। আর কারোর কিছু যদি বলার থাকে, অনেকে লিখছে কিন্তু আমি ছোট ফোনে বলে আমি বুঝতে পারছি না, কারোর যদি কিছু বলার থাকে হাত তুলবেন এবং তারপর মাইকটা আনমিউট করতে পারেন। কারোর যদি কিছু বলার থাকে, হ্যাঁ, আনমিউট করে কথা বলবেন। কেউ যদি কিছু বলতে চান, আমি হ্যাঁ কল্যাণী, প্রণাম জানাই।
নমস্কার
মহারাজ, খুব ভালো লাগলো মহারাজ।
Thank you for your appreciation, kind words. Thank you.
সত্যিকারের হিমালয় দর্শন করে
এটাই আনন্দ যে আজকের দিনে বৈশালীদি বলুন, আপনি কিছু বলতে চাইছেন? তারপর গার্গী
মহারাজ আমার প্রণাম জানবেন। আমার অসম্ভব ভালো লাগলো, খুব ভালো লাগলো। আমি অমরনাথ সম্বন্ধে অনেক শুনেছি, কিন্তু এত সুন্দর অভিজ্ঞতা হলো, মনে হলো যে স্বামীজির চরণ ধরে আমরাও সেখানে পৌঁছে গেছি।
ঠিক
প্রণাম নেবেন মহারাজ, আমি 2য় পর্বের জন্য অপেক্ষায় থাকবো।
হ্যাঁ, সত্যি তাই, অপূর্ব। গার্গীদি কিছু বলবেন? হ্যাঁ, গার্গীদি বোধহয় হাত তুলছিল, দেখছিলাম।
মহারাজ আমার একটা মনে হয় যে ক্ষীর ভবানীতে স্বামীজির যে রিয়েলাইজেশনটা হলো, এটা কি ব্রহ্ম আর শক্তি অভেদ, এই রিয়েলাইজেশনটাই কি হলো?
না, ফিলসফিক্যালি যদি তুমি দেখো, ওটা ব্রহ্ম শক্তি আবেদ তো আমরা বলি, তো মায়ের ইচ্ছা মানে তো ব্রহ্মের ইচ্ছা, এরকম বলা যায়, কিন্তু ওটা তো একটা ইন এ মোর আই শুড সে ওই রকম মিনিং ইনডাইরেক্টলি তুমি আনতে পারো কি ব্রহ্ম শক্তি আবেদ, সেই জন্য মায়ের ইচ্ছাটা উনি মেনে নিচ্ছেন, মানে ব্রহ্মের এটাও মেনে নিচ্ছে এরকম মনে হবে, কিন্তু তা নয়। কেননা ব্রহ্ম হচ্ছে ওটা নিরাকার, ওটা কিন্তু কাজ করে না, কাজটা করে শক্তি করে। সেই জন্য ঠাকুরের ভাষাতে এই যে ব্রহ্মের প্রেজেন্সে শক্তিটা কাজ করছে, সেই শক্তির প্রভাবটা হলো, সেই শক্তির প্রভাবটা তার উপযুক্তটা, যেমন ঠাকুর আর তোতাপুরি, ইন দ্যাট ইনসিডেন্ট উই সি দ্যাট তোতাপুরি ওয়াজ এ পারফেক্ট জ্ঞানী, কিন্তু he had belief only there is only one existence and that is Brahman. He never understood or accepted the power of the Shakti, but then finally he had to learn from Thakur. So he learnt that yes, power of Shakti has to be understood. So likewise, the power of Shakti is independent. but in the presence of Brahman only it acts. So, jehetu Mayer supremacy ta uni accept korechen, yes, because in whose presence Ma acts? In Brahman's presence. So in that way you can say, but Brahman doesn't will, it doesn't do anything. Yes.
অমিতাদি হাত তুলছিলেন, অমিতাদি কিছু প্রশ্ন করতে চাইছেন, বলুন দিদি। অমিতা মৈত্রকে আমি দেখলাম এক্ষুনি হাত তুলছিলেন। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ বলুন।
প্রথমেই প্রণাম জানাই সুন্দর মহারাজকে। আমি মানে আজকে আপনার এই যে হিমালয়ের স্বামীজির বর্ণনা, ক্ষীর ভবানী বা অমরনাথে গিয়েছিলেন সে বর্ণনা শুনেছি, কিছু কিছু পড়েছি, কিন্তু এই যে সম্যক ধারণাটা যেটা আজকে আপনি জানালেন সিস্টার নিবেদিতার ভাষায়, কিভাবে স্বামীজি ওখানে নিজেকে সমর্পণ করেছিলেন সেই তুষার শৃঙ্গে শিবমূর্তির কাছে, শুধুমাত্র একটা কৌপিন পরে, এটা জেনে মানে আমি শিহরিত হয়ে গেলাম যে এটাও কি সম্ভব ওই ঠান্ডায়। কতখানি তার মনোবল এবং কতখানি তার মধ্যে একটা ঐশ্বরিক শক্তি ছিল, সেই ঐশ্বরিক শক্তির দ্বারাই তিনি করতে পেরেছিলেন। এই বর্ণনাটা আমি আগে জানতাম না। আমি সত্যি আজকে আমার কিছুটা জ্ঞান লাভ হলো মহারাজ।
থ্যাংক ইউ,
ধন্যবাদ আপনাকে। হ্যাঁ, আবার শুনবার আশা রাখলাম।
আর কারোর কিছু বলার আছে? আমরা সত্যি সকলেই অভিভূত। মহারাজ সত্যি সকলে অভিভূত। আর কেউ কিছু যদি বলতে চান বলুন, আর 2-3 মিনিটের মধ্যেই আমাদের এটাকে শেষ করতে হবে। আর আমি আবার একবার অযোধ্যা রিসার্চ ইনস্টিটিউটের জগমোহনজিকে এবং কীর্তিকে ধন্যবাদ জানাবো। জগমোহনজি পুরো সপরিবার কোভিড আক্রান্ত হয়েছিল, তার ছোট্ট কন্যা থেকে শুরু করে তার স্ত্রী সবাই, কিন্তু মায়ের আশীর্বাদে তারা ভালো আছেন। এই অবস্থাতেও ওরা যে আমাদের হেল্প করেছে এটাই আমার কাছে খুব বড় পাওনা, কারণ নইলে এটা রেকর্ডিংটা আমি করতে পারি না গুগল থেকে, তো ওরা সেটাকে আমাকে হেল্প করছে এবং ওরা রেকর্ডিংটা থাকার ফলে আমি এটা আবার ইউটিউবে দিয়ে দিতে পারবো, মহারাজকেও পাঠিয়ে দিতে পারবো। বহু ভক্ত যারা এই সময় শুনতে পাননি তারা এটাকে আবার শুনতে পাবেন। অনেকেই SMS লিখছেন মহারাজকে, হয়তো সবাই বলতে পারছেন না, কারণ সবাই বলা সম্ভবও হয়তো নয়। আমি আপনাদের প্রত্যেককে আকনা সারদা রামকৃষ্ণ পাঠচক্রের পক্ষ থেকে আমার প্রণাম, শ্রদ্ধা, এবং মহারাজের কাছে তো ধন্যবাদ দেবার মতন আমার মানে বলে বোঝানো যাবে না যে মহারাজের এই সঙ্গ আমাদেরকে কিভাবে এত সমৃদ্ধ করছে, এরম একটা কঠিন সময়ের মধ্যে আলো দেখাচ্ছে। মহারাজ, আমি খুব শীঘ্রই আপনার সঙ্গে যোগাযোগ করে এর দ্বিতীয় পর্বটা হিমালয় এবং স্বামীজির যে আরো অনেক ঘটনা, যেটা জানা খুব দরকার আমাদের হয়তো প্রত্যেকেরই। শুধু একটা ছোট্ট অভিজ্ঞতা বলি। আর কদিন আগেই, 2-3 সপ্তাহ আগেই আমি ছিলাম মায়ের আশীর্বাদে হিমালয়ের কাছাকাছি। আর তো বেরোতে এখন হয়তো আবার পারতাম না। তো সেই একদম এপ্রিলের প্রথম 2-3টে দিন